rolling.
Let's go.
Right.
Hello.
Hello, Pat. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Very well. Welcome to
Thank you.
the studio of Next
Looks
Stages.
amazing. Looks incredible.
It's been a lot of work.
Yes, yeah.
Labour of love. I
Yeah.
built the entire thing. No, I didn't. That's an absolute lie. I didn't put the shell up of this studio, and I didn't do the plastering, but I've done everything else.
It looks insane. It looks great.
It's a really nice space, and I spend a lot of time here at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's set up in such a way because people have said to me, "Oh, you've got a recording studio."
Yes. Talk to me about the different elements of it, because you've got so much going on. So talk to me about that.
Yeah. So there's a lot more than just the recording aspect. Of course, yes, I can record here.
Yeah.
We've got a dedicated vocal booth, which is suitable not just for singers who we're going to be working with, but actors, anyone storytellers, anyone who needs to record a nice, clean, isolated vocal can come and use that facility.
Great, like self-tapes.
Yeah, absolutely, self-tapes. But the studio's equipped with various different mic points in places as well. So if somebody wanted to come in and do a video self-tape, they can use the other end of the room and everything feeds back to the control point. So it's been designed in such a way where whatever application is going to be used for, I can kind of just adapt it quite quickly and not have to run cables and miles of cables all over the floor for it. So facilities-wise, we can do everything from recording guitars and vocals to headshots, show reels, self-tapes. We've got enough space in here to probably rehearse an element of dance if I move the tables out of the way.
It's really spacious. I mean, you move the table out of the way and that's it. You've got the space.
Yeah.
And your lighting?
And the lighting I've got as well, stage lighting. So if we're recording singers and what have you, and they want something show really, then we'll have all the kind of nice coloured flashy disco lights. And we've got over on the wall to my right here is like our backdrop wall, which I can adapt to green screen or plain black or whatever you might want behind you. So and then we've got the depth of field to shoot as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And it's all under one roof, isn't it? Which is just so rare and unique now, because very often so many artists and creatives, I'm sure you've been through this yourself, you have to travel to different places to do various things, whereas to have this under one roof is such a unique, special thing.
It is. I'm going to elaborate on that in a moment, because the concept behind this idea came from me seeing what I thought was a gap in the market. So Next Stages is aiming to cater for a particular gap. But it does pull various elements of performing arts together. But also, and this is where I'm going to chat with you a little bit more in a moment, is the academic side and the theory side, because we both have experience. In fact,
absolutely,
how we met.
Indeed.
Going back to 2016, I can put a date on it now. So 10 years ago. At university. University of
As
Bedford.
mature students.
Mature in the age respect. I'm not sure how mature I actually was.
We actually were.
And we studied, I think you did the same course, didn't you, Performing Arts?
Yep, I did. I did BA in Performing Arts, and then I went on to do an MA in Performing Arts. But I think by that point you'd left when I did my MA, possibly, or because you were...
Yeah, I was 1 year below you in study. So when you were doing your MA, did you do it straight off the back?
Well, I did it over 2 years.
Oh, did you?
I did do it after I graduated, but I did it over 2 years. I did it part-time. I suppose that first year of the MA was when you were just finishing up.
So your second year of your MA was when I did my MA.
But that was in
Luton. In Luton campus,
Luton campus, yeah.
So, all right, this is something I don't know about you. So how did you end up? Well, so give me a bit of your background to tell me how... I don't know what age you were, and I won't ask. You suddenly one day decided you were going to become a mature student and take yourself back off to university. I don't know your background story, so tell me a bit about that. Yeah,
so I'll briefly tell you a little bit about background and then kind of how I ended up going back to uni, as you say, as a mature student. So I always knew I wanted to go into performing arts, and I ended up leaving school and going on to do a BTEC at college, and that was in performing arts, but with a focus quite heavily on acting as opposed to anything else.
Right, okay. Is that a performing arts BTEC?
It's a performing arts BTEC, and they had various units, but it was quite heavily revolved. I mean, it did have dance, and I did do an A-level dance alongside it as well. But it was very practical, as BTECs are, even now. And it actually set me up to know for sure that's definitely what I wanted to go into. So after college, I went and kind of did some acting for a little while, worked in various kind of theatres, in various shows, and that was probably for a couple of years before I then met my then partner. And as with anything in life, you know, you start to think about a mortgage and a house, possibility of having children, and all the costs around that.
Well, wasn't it John Lennon who said life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans?
100%, exactly. And you know, exactly that it was a bolt out the blue. And I wouldn't ever say for one moment that I put my dreams on hold to create that life, but certainly things had to pause whilst I also, you know, built a life and settled down. That said, though, everything, and I think this comes with, without sounding patronising in any way, shape or form, I think everything I went on to do after that massively shaped where I am now.
Right.
So, for example, I ended up landing a managerial role in a big retail firm. And that taught me no end of things about budgets, managing people, working to targets, problem solving. I then went on to work as a director and manager in a recruitment firm, which taught me how to sell a product.
Okay.
It taught me how to, again, hit the brief of what people needed in a short space of time.
Yeah.
And act to some consent, because you have to obviously put on a facade.
It's the sell, isn't it? Yeah. You're
horses for courses and all that corporate talk. And then I went on to... What did I go on to do then? Just various things that now looking back massively informed my understanding of how to work with people, have the confidence to problem solve. But it was, I think, if I'm being brutally honest, it was the split from my partner that really made me think, what am I going to do with my life that fulfills what I want to do with my life? Because by this point, I'd got the house. Mm-hmm. I'd set up kind of, you know, stability, so to speak. And I was in a very fortunate position where I could decide, okay, I am going to go back to uni and I'm going to finish off the job that wasn't done before after my BTEC. That, you know, traditionally my friends went off to uni after doing that. But I'm forever thankful for that pause and that break. We're talking a good 10 years after my BTEC before I went back to uni.
Right, okay.
But within that time, and you know, when I look at my friends now who went straight off to uni or drama school or dance college, they then went off to build their lives and haven't ever gone back into it. Whereas I feel in a really blessed way that by having that experience then...
It's given you a certain amount of wisdom,
100%.
which you just don't, you know, you don't have it at 18, 20 years old.
And that has gone into everything I've gone on to make, actually. You know, we'll talk about more about professional work in a minute, but any dance piece I've been inspired to make has been based on verbatim or an experience in my life or an experience of people I've met. Anything I've gone on to pitch in terms of an idea has been inspired by, again, people I've met along the way or the stories I've heard or life experience. And you're right, like, you can't teach that. You can't.
It's the creation of art, and I think that's something that people don't understand as well.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at a piece of let's take contemporary, you know, painted art, if you like, take modern. When people look at that and they don't understand it, well, I don't get it. There doesn't look any skill. There's two different elements to it. To me, I think all art is there's a technical and there's an artistic.
Yes.
And the technical isn't always the main factor. So I think it's important to break down the differences between the technical merit and the artistic impression, if you like, to use ice skating terminology.
Yeah.
And I think that was something that when I returned to uni, I hadn't even considered. I thought I was going to go and learn stage skills and how to sing in a more coherent way, or, you know, use my voice properly. And what I learned was just to think completely differently about anything I created. And then, you know, we obviously we were taught quite a lot of theory as well.
Yes, and it's that deeper surface level, isn't it? It wasn't just looking at it as this is what it is. Well, why is it like that?
Yeah.
What's influenced that? what's your take on that? And I don't know about you, but I found my creative voice at uni.
Yeah, absolutely.
I found my
I don't think I realised it at the
style.
time. It wasn't
Yes,
until
same.
probably a couple of 3 years afterwards that I finally thought, now I get it.
Yeah. It's digested, it's gone in.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
So let's move on to then the uni. So
Yeah,
what did you sort of threw yourself into a...
Threw myself into a degree. I had 2 children.
Yeah.
So life was, it really, and I was working as well at the time. So I was very fortunate to still be teaching privately and teaching students privately, coaching them through dance. I was working at a dance school. I was working at different schools in Bedford, kind of freelance, teaching drama. So I was very fortunate, but I remember literally life would be dropping my children off, going to teach a lesson before a uni lecture, going to a uni lecture, then going to teach a lesson. It really was full on, but so worth it. And uni for me was the finding of everything I've gone on to do. And I started off, I remember having a meeting with Amalia and trying to decipher whether I was going to go down the dance route or the performing arts route. And I decided on performing arts because it still had the dance element. But I would say it was after my first year that I really found a love for choreography and producing and creating work, as well as performing and being a dancer. But I was able to find a therapeutic nature and a message and a delivery in my choreographic work that through feedback I realised was touching people and was resonating with people and was able to go beyond we're just going to make a dance piece for the dance piece sake. It was actually getting a message out there. And through my time at uni, as you know, we were very fortunate to have some wonderful lecturers, some wonderful visiting lecturers, and we were exposed to quite a large network actually, weren't we?
Yeah.
And through that, I found the confidence just to message people and just to say, can I come into the rehearsal room? I remember messaging Frantic Assembly, people from Motion House, and just saying, like Hofeschecter, and saying, can I come and watch a rehearsal? Can I come and train with you? Can I come and just be exposed to how you work? Sometimes I got a flat no, but sometimes I got a yes. And from that, I then again had the confidence to create my own work, which I was very fortunate to go on to get Arts Council funding and end up touring my work whilst at uni, and then finishing with a degree and being inspired to go on to further train and do my MA.
And do a subsequent masters. Yeah.
As you do.
Yeah, it's funny, you dropped some names then that I'd never heard of until I started doing the same course as yourself, Hofeschecter and Frantic Assembly, various different, dance companies, because I think the course that we did, I think it's fair to say that it was fairly dance heavy.
Yes.
Which is not the strongest of my disciplines.
Yes.
As I'll be the first to admit.
Yeah.
However, it made me realise that there's something, and in fact it was Lindsay who was teaching us at the time, and she showed me the choreographic toolbox.
Yes.
All right, and all these different things.
Yeah.
But I realised later on that actually it's not just a dance toolbox. You can apply these tools to so many different disciplines, to acting, to any work you create, to give work depth and layers.
Layers is the key thing, I think.
And it's not always more either. It's sometimes you can strip something back to its fundamentals to make it that much more powerful.
Do you know, it's funny you say that. One of the most powerful pieces of art I ever saw, and I forget the name of the company, but it was somebody just standing on stage for half an hour with rice falling on their head. And it was this power of how psychologically they were strong enough to sustain that.
This sounds Pina Bauschy.
It wasn't Pina Bausch, but it was Pina Bauschy. But honestly, it was the most fascinating piece of art I've ever watched. But had you said to me 10 years ago, you're going to go and watch a piece with somebody standing on stage with rice falling on their head.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I think that you've kind of summarised it there, because, again, if you look at the technical element of that, there isn't one really.
Yeah.
But
apart from mentally.
Everybody takes something from it. If you look at song, for example, people will resonate with the lyrics of a song.
Yes.
Because they will relate to it personally, even though they're not quite sure why or how. But it's not about how complex you make a lyric. it's how powerful it is.
Yes.
And I think that really, especially with a lot of musicians, that's kind of, it's just bypassed because they concentrate on, what chords do I need to know?
Rhymes.
What rhymes with this?
Yeah.
Does it fit well? Does it, does it fit with the mould of what's popular now?
Yeah.
Well, forget the mould.
Yeah.
Break the mould.
Be true to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And I've always said I'd rather inspire one person on this earth and know that I've done my job, and that one person go off and inspire another person, domino effect. But if you're true to yourself as an artist, actually that's you're being authentic.
Yeah.
And
because it's from the heart. And your experience will resonate with the experiences of other people.
It will, absolutely.
And I remember another key thing that I was taught at uni, just one line, is your art doesn't have to be liked by everyone, right? It just needs to challenge people.
And that's hard.
It is, because
that's ego, isn't it?
Yeah, you're keen to please all the time.
All the time.
But if you challenge people and make them think, oh, that was a bit... If they go away thinking that was the weirdest thing I've ever watched, well, good, you've done your job.
Yes,
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because actually, for every person that thinks, well, that was weird, you will get somebody that goes, oh, that's really made me think of something, differently or in a different way. So, but it is extremely hard. And again, you mentioned earlier this idea of wisdom. I do think it comes with that. I do think it comes with this understanding of it's okay not to have everybody like your work.
Yeah.
But that's extremely hard.
It is, because we want to be liked, don't we? As humans, we want to be liked.
Yeah.
So it's okay not to be liked, because you can't please all the people all the time. You've only got to look at social media nowadays, where somebody will post something and within 3 comments, there's somebody telling them why it's wrong or it's rubbish, right? So it's pretty toxic stuff that but part of what I intend to teach here is that you do need a thick skin.
Yeah.
And the thicker you can grow your skin to be, the easier ride you're going to have. Because if you start taking stuff to heart when people don't like what you're doing, or don't, I mean, particularly singers for the first time who get up on stage, and if somebody says, "Oh, that was rubbish," that's going to knock their confidence for years, And it's just, you've got to learn, and it's not a personal thing. A lot of it comes from points of envy or points of...
people project their own stuff, don't they? And I think it's interesting you say that, but I think also what comes from that is having the right network around you. And I think what you're creating here is really special, because what you're creating is a hub of professionals and a hub of people that can carry these people through and be the ones that are saying, do you know what, ignore the person that just gave you that comment. For every person you've got there, you've got 10 people who have got your back. And I think what you're doing here is you're creating that nurturing, supportive environment that enables an artist to, like you say, build that thick skin.
Yeah, and it's something that didn't exist, and I don't think it has existed for as long as I can remember. Is that people will go and they'll train and they'll study and they'll do a course in whatever it might be, dance, stage. And then they'll come to the end of that course and they want a career in it, and either, like you say, life gets in the way, or they'll go and take an interim job, but then don't really know what to do or how to get back into actually focusing on what they wanted to do in the first place. And you kind of lose sight of it if you're not careful.
And you can do both, absolutely. Now, looking back, had I had something like what you're creating alongside me creating my family and building, had I had somebody still there going, you can still have a full-time job and still be doing X, Y, and Z, life might have been different. As mentioned earlier, it took the path it did, and I'm grateful for that. But I think you're absolutely right. It's just having that guidance there and readily available, because how often do I see it nowadays with the amount of students that I see go off to drama school and dance college, and they come out and then there's, there's the alumni, but there's very rarely now this kind of availability to then guide them into, forgive the pun, but the next stages.
You are kind of on your own, aren't you, afterwards, because the unis will be moving on to the next year group that are coming through and doing the same course with those. And I think also where I'm at really is also a position of a lot of experience, and that's why I've pulled together people like yourself, and Danny, who does the vocal side, and Richard, who's going to look after the acting side, because they're not just people with qualifications, although we are qualified, but we've lived it. We've worked the industry, and I think God knows I made so many mistakes. And if I look back now and thought, right, what would I do differently? How would I have approached the whole thing differently? Then I've got so much advice to give my younger self. But obviously I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I'll pass it on to other people
Yeah.
instead, because it's as much about avoiding pitfalls and not making those mistakes,
Absolutely.
and about what not to do, as it is about what to do.
Yeah.
But the things that you learn on the way as well are professional practice, how to present yourself online, because just that alone will put you head and shoulders above somebody who doesn't do it.
Yeah.
And there's this myth, and this is, I've seen this happen time and time again, but this myth about the more skilled you are, the more chance you are of being successful, and it's just wrong.
Yeah.
Because I know some of the most fantastically talented people who don't apply themselves in the right way, and yet I've seen people who've got less natural talent, if you like,
And
but
yet
who
they've
work harder and drive,
launched,
and they go and thrive, and they survive,
Yeah.
and they make their successful careers from it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give anyone the illusion that this is easy to do. This is the arts industry, and it's
I
tough.
think you have to have an element of desire and passion, because without that, it doesn't matter how hard you work.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd agree with me. When it's tough, it's tough.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the true fulfillment and drive to succeed, then it won't happen.
Specifically at the minute with the current climate and the cost of living and everything else, it's one of the toughest industries out there, because essentially arts and entertainment, there's a bit of a blurred line between those two. But it's always the first thing to get cut in any budget, isn't it? So people they're going to stop paying for it.
Yeah. And this is where I think it's important that as artists, and as an educator actually, as well as a coach or whatever else I do, it's important that we are driving home this idea of being versatile. I was talking to a student not so long ago about the fact that he's off to drama school, and that's great. But I said, don't forget about writing, script writing, producing, camera work, all these other things that then when you go for auditions or when the opportunities arise, you have all these other bows to your arrow. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not specialising in something. You can still be a specialist in your field, but actually you'll then open up to so much more work, because like you say, the industry is on its, certainly has been accused of being on its knees. And I think if you as an artist, a creative, can be versatile and able to do so much more than just what you're trained in, you're going to stand more of a chance, aren't you?
I say it to acting students, because when you think of acting in the traditional sense, and there'll be parents and grandparents watching this as well, and they think, well, they're not going to become an actor because they've got to become famous and get on TV or get on the stage. And it's like, well, hold on a minute. No, there's 1,000 different ways to apply yourself as an actor. You could be a voiceover artist. You could do corporate videos. You could do college and university,
educational
videos. You can do theatre in education. You can be acting every single day. You can, if you just want to do supporting artist or extra work, you can do that. There is plenty of work there. And if to the peers watching, if they're unsure of whether what I'm saying is true, go and turn on your television set, because everyone that's on there now, whether they're in an advert, whether they're whatever, are doing some form of acting.
The work is there. The work is there, absolutely.
And we've got Universal Studios coming to Bedford.
Amazing.
Which should open up a wealth of opportunity. For actors, dancers,
choreographers. Ever directors,
a lot. So that's another point where what we can offer should put you really at an advantage point if you're going to start looking for those kind of roles.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Tell me what your biggest challenge has been then in reaching your goal as an artist. What's been your biggest thing you had to overcome?
My biggest challenge was probably not setting my goals too high per se, but not like we just talked about, being broad enough. So I had as many kids my age did back then. When I was 15, I wanted to be a rock star. Right, I wanted to sling a guitar around my neck, play to big audiences on a big stage. And I couldn't really see past that. I moved secondary schools in the middle of my education. I was doing really well at the first one, and then I tried to pick up at the second one more locally, and they were already halfway through a curriculum that I wasn't used to. So I came out of secondary school with 3 GCSEs, one of which was drama, by the way.
Yay!
But I didn't really have much direction.
Yeah.
And I think my probably my biggest setback is that I didn't have anyone to kind of steer me in the right direction and say, right, what do you want? How are we going to achieve it? But also times were different back then. I'm going back to 1990 when I left school, you know, and it was kind of like, well, you either go and do your A-levels.
This is it.
Or you go and get a job.
Yeah.
And that was my choice.
Yeah.
Neither of which
and
I really
taboo,
fancied.
if you didn't go on to do, you know, it was massive, wasn't it?
Quite. Which is why, and I found myself moving from job to job. You know, I've always been continuing with gigs and art. I've probably got 5,000 gigs under my belt in various different guises. And then finally, a friend offered me an opportunity in about 2008. And they were working as a head of a school for boys with behavioural problems at the time. And they said, do you want to come and do some teaching? And I thought, well, I'm not a teacher. I've got no qualifications to be a teacher. But I thought, well, I'll give it a go. You know. And what I found was, one, I could do the job. I was a positive influence on boys with behavioural problems. I got quite a calming nature, and I could there was a lot of issues there. We were going from physically restraining boys, and within 10 minutes I'd have them sitting on a drum kit taking their frustrations out. But it was the use of art to as a therapy, which would let them
enable them to feel comfortable enough
and
to
then so I went from there. I relocated over here to Bedford, and then transitioned between the school I was working at, which was in Ely, to another school here, which is in Kempston at the Grange.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Where that was a special needs school.
Yes, yeah.
So I taught, again, as an unqualified teacher. I was there teaching music and performing arts.
Yeah.
All the things that I knew I was good at when I was at school, but never managed to do anything with. Well, I say that, you know, I gigged and gigged and gigged.
Yeah.
Never made it as a rock star. Still one day if anyone's watching. But it's, when I look back at it now, I just wish I'd kind of had the wisdom. But they say youth is wasted on the young, don't they? And I didn't. But I realised one day that I was telling my students, who, bearing in mind that they were students with moderate learning difficulties, and that they aren't the most necessarily technically gifted students, but the point was that it didn't matter, because if you want something enough, go and get it. And I used to show them, it was a motivational speaker called Alan Watts, and I used to show them this video that's on YouTube, and he'd say, what would you do with your life if money was no object? How would you spend your days? What would you do? And it's a really important question to consider, because I will ask that of any student that comes through the door. What do you really want?
Yeah.
And it's a hard question to answer in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
But if they're honest with themselves, they'll say, well, we want to be musicians, singers, actors, dancers.
Yeah.
But as everyone knows, you can't make any money or a living that way, so we're all going to have to go and do something else, right? But that's institutionalized thinking.
That's the really frustrating thing. It's society, isn't it, that has inbred that in our creative industry.
Yeah.
And yes, there are pockets of the industry that doesn't pay very well, but there are also pockets of the industry, the jobs are there.
Yeah, I mean, the chances of becoming the next Beyonce are slim. We're not trying to put you under any illusion that that's going to happen. 99.9% of musicians are just working musicians who gig and live hand to mouth like the rest of us, but they're doing what they enjoy, right? Yeah. And that's going to make you far happier than 100%. Being rich by doing something you don't enjoy.
Yeah. Happiness and health.
Yeah, health is wealth.
Health is wealth.
It's a great saying. And then one day I sat in this job teaching these kids this, and I thought, I'm giving them this advice, and I'm here as in a capacity that I'm not taking my own advice, and it's not the ideal job for me. And so I took myself back to uni, and my wife actually had done my now wife then partner was doing a social work degree. Yeah. And she said, why don't you go and do your degree?
Amazing.
And I hadn't even thought about it. I thought, I can't.
Yeah.
But of course the boundaries and parameters for qualifying as a mature student are a bit different to having 3 GCSEs when you leave school at 16. Yeah. So I signed up for the same course as yourself. Did a degree in performing arts, went on to do a master's in screen performance and communication techniques, and on graduating from there, I've worked on various different projects and formats. But what I've suddenly realised is that it wasn't the teaching I didn't enjoy. It was the bureaucracy, the red tape, the restraints that you have, the paperwork, the Ofsted inspections, all that kind of stuff that goes with teaching in a classroom was actually holding me back from being able to teach what I wanted to teach. So therefore, and I don't think a lot of the stuff that's sort of on the curriculum in the arts, you can interpret it to a certain extent, but a lot of it doesn't really prepare you for the industry, doesn't really teach you how things operate. So I thought, well, let's set something up that does. And I can use now my experience as a performer, my experience of getting it wrong, my experience of going to uni and learning the theory behind the practice, and pulling it all together with a team of equally qualified and experienced network
who
people.
Equally, I think, echo a similar thing in terms of we have the network, we have the experience, we have the what we would do differently, all under one kind of umbrella
To help people go through to the next stages.
Yay!
With a bit of cheese added. But it's, I mean, the name of the business is exactly that. It's because it's. I don't want you to end up working in a coffee shop for the next 5 years before you tie yourself down with the mortgage. If you want to be a singer, there's ways to do it.
Let's do it.
There's ways not to do it. As well. So let's have a look at the options and see what we can do.
Fantastic, great. Well, you've got something very special.
Well, let's hope so. So what do we offer then?
What do we offer?
So let me, if I were to say to you, right, so I think it's important to distinguish the differences between somebody going to performing arts school, somebody going to university, which are two different things in themselves,
absolutely,
and what we offer here. So you are in the discipline that I know little about, other than I ended up doing ballet on a Monday morning at one point, and just...
In your first position?
That was in my degree course. I remember that distinctly, and I remember looking around me. That was with Helen.
Oh yes, some Helen.
So Helen taught me. I'm stood there on a Monday morning. And I looked around me, and there's all these young people, far more flexible. And I remember thinking, firstly, what on earth am I doing here? And then I thought to myself, where would you be if you weren't here? And I thought, I'm going to be in a job that I don't like. And did I learn from it? Did I enjoy the dance? No, not really. But that's where you come in.
Come on then, let's see your first position.
First position is out that door.
So
but I think that back to that question is, what are we going to offer that if somebody thinks, well, I can sign up and I can go to stage work, Stagecoach, and I can do dance there. Right? This isn't the same.
No. It's, what I would say is it's a very unique package in terms of, we're offering essentially somebody that's already trained or is in the process of training and about to launch themselves. And I think what we're offering is the expertise, the opportunities, and I keep going back to this phrase of network, but it's so true. Like, who we know between us, I think, can offer so much for potential clients. And, one of the things I pride myself on and have done over the years is I create many events. So I've done lots of different events, various dance events where I have started with nothing, found a venue, found, people to perform, etc., etc., etc. And it's that I think is very bespoke to anything else. We can tailor make a package for these clients that will help promote them, that will help with show reels, social media content, exposure,
online profiles, just in general. It's quality of content as well.
Quality of content, because we haven't spoken much about it, but setting up my own kind of dance company, I had to throw myself out there. I had to be not just the choreographer, not just the casting director, the artistic director. I had to be the finance person, the promoter, the marketing. And obviously in the job I do now, as an educator, I'm also having to have the skills of how do we then convince, like I was saying earlier, like of a product and putting it out there. So that's, essentially what we can offer is how to launch them into the industry.
Yeah. And being prepared for the pitfalls of it as well.
Yeah. We've not got the constraints of a curriculum. We've not got the constraints of this is how it has to be done for every, because not everybody fits the same box or the same mould.
No.
And I think it's important that every client that comes to us has that consultation, and we say to them, right, what are you looking for?
Exactly. And we'll build a bespoke package.
And we'll build this, exactly.
Around that. So, you may have someone that wants to cross over 2 different disciplines, and that's something we can deal with. They might want to be a triple threat and go into musical theatre, and we can look at all aspects of that.
Absolutely.
But at the same time,
agents, how we get them in contact with agents.
Yeah, which for some disciplines will work better than others, because the advice for getting yourself an acting agent is going to be different to the advice for getting yourself a musical agent.
Yes. And everything that comes with that as well.
And how it should work, and how you protect yourself from cancellation, how you cover yourself for injury, how you make sure you've got all your right insurances in place, for professional practice.
And I think as well as teaching, one thing we didn't really cover at school is if you are self-employed and you're getting these jobs, it's things like how do you then manage your finances around that? How do you all of these things that you don't necessarily know, we can offer.
Yeah, particularly with sort of working freelance and on the self-employed basis, and what can you allow? What are allowable expenses if you're a performer? Because that's a bit of a grey area as well. But we'd like we'll work with everybody really to kind of tailor it to them.
To them in a bespoke package.
So then, the other nice thing is that we can offer as little as an hour.
Yes.
So let's say somebody's fairly confident in a piece they've prepared for an audition, but would just like a bit of feedback. Well, come in, show us your piece, we'll give you a bit of feedback on it. Have a look at it yourself. What could you do differently? How could you improve
Rework it?
Which again is, critical reflection is something I think all of the performers we work with should look at. Evaluate their own work, watch their performance back. Which most people cringe and don't like, but that's exactly the point, really.
I think it's the only way to develop, isn't it? And I think, we spoke earlier about having people around you who support you. Yes, but I think it's also really vitally important to have people around you who aren't afraid to tell you that's not working. And you need to approach it a different way. And that sounds a bit harsh, but actually you don't get anywhere in life if you've got people just
telling you how great you are all the time. No.
Lovely. But you need people around you who are going to say, you need to approach this differently.
Because your family and your close friends are always going to tell you how great you are, which is fantastic. It's really important. In fact, some of the most successful people who I know have done it because they've got the support of their family behind them. And that kind of stands out from the others in a lot of ways. But like you say, to just receive positive feedback, you can do one of two things. One is you're not going to develop, and two, you might start to develop an ego, which also isn't healthy.
And also then you're just going down one avenue, aren't you? You're not necessarily exposing yourself to all these other opportunities. So I think that's something we can definitely offer. Like you say, even within an hour, is just having feedback and not being afraid to rework something.
So there it is. Next stage is wrapped within a 45-minute podcast or thereabouts.
Do you want to just talk through very briefly about the different packages that you offer?
Okay.
Just talk about that. So you mentioned like you do the hour consultation, but what else could a client, gain from Next Stages? So what could they get?
All right. So let's have a look at some of the individual disciplines and see what we could offer. So let's start with an actor, for example. So somebody comes to us and they say, right, I've just got out of college. I did a performing arts course, like maybe a BTEC like yourself, or perhaps they've been to Stageworks or one of the other, theatre companies, and done a certain amount of training where they've worked alongside others. The one key difference here is this is one-to-one.
Yes.
Right, which you don't often find with sessions for actors or dancers.
Okay. Usually in a group.
Can we offer traditional acting training? To some extent, yes. That's not our prime focus because you've already had some of that. Okay, we can support you with it, certainly. So we can help direct. We can give you some technical advice if you're working, for example, acting to camera, how it's different to working to acting to screen. But the focus is really, what can I offer you? Is anything from a set of headshots, which will, stand you out because it's the first thing any casting director sees. We could build you a show reel, but I'm not just going to stand there and film you doing your thing. We're going to actually give you some direction and some feedback as to how you're performing. We'll weigh the edit of that show reel in your favour. So it shows you off, and we look at things like your passive acting as well. So if you're in a duologue with someone, it's how you're reacting whilst that person's talking.
So
is it as important to the casting director as what you can actively do as an actor, right? So they don't have that one for nothing. That's a freebie. But so there's literally all different aspects. If they've got a monologue they're rehearsing, is it the right monologue for them? Have they got a contemporary and a classical?
And has that monologue been done by 100 other people? Or have you got something,
that's
unique?
New and unique. So it's kind of all those focus things, really. We can make your audition ready. At the same time, if you're a singer, well, we're currently working with two singers, one who is an originals artist, and we're using everything from academic practice learnt at uni, semiotics with one artist, to developing stage skills and confidence with another artist who's a cover artist who just wants to sing on the local circuit, singing covers for now at least. But we've got not just the experience, we've got the network of people. So if you do want to be that singer who sings locally, let's build your online presence so you've got a nice website, so you've got a decent show reel of what you do. But also we can support you with vocal coaching as well, so you don't damage your voice, vocal health. And then from the dance side of things, that's where you come in and you take care of that element.
Absolutely, and like you said, with show reels and audition material. And it's interesting you mentioned, I was just going to touch very briefly on the health side of it. Because we do have an expert who knows exactly what she's talking about in that. But I think also there is something that we can all bring to this, which is nurturing yourself as an artist is so important. Your nutrition, the way your mental output, how much you're telling yourself you can or you can't do something. I think all of that is really important as well. So the well-being aspect to it, isn't it?
It is, because it's again, it comes back to that, building your confidence and being rejected is something that can knock that quite easily, and you've got to look after yourself. Absolutely. So in terms of packages and times that we offer, you can, if you just wanted to do an hour to see whether this sort of thing's for you, and then we can do that 20-minute consultation just to find out. Is free. You can do that either online or here in our studio in Reynolds. And of course we don't have to do everything here either. If you want to film a show reel and it's out and about and it's in a bus stop, we'll go and film on location and make it quite real, because we don't want everything set in a sort of sterile studio environment. But so we can go from an hour right through to a 6-month package where we work on all aspects and combine it under one umbrella, and then obviously you get a reduced cost for the fact that you've taken a big package.
Great.
And then that's the whole development, and hopefully by the end of that 6-month period, we're not going to sort of kick you out the door and say goodbye either. We'll continue to work with you after that, and just support you as and when you need to. But hopefully it will put you in good stead for being quite a few leagues ahead of your competition, really.
Absolutely.
In what's a really competitive industry.
And I think it's important as well, this isn't just for people who have finished their degree, but like you mentioned earlier, people who are finishing college, who are looking to audition for drama school or dance college. I think that's really important, that transition. I mean, I currently coach quite a few students through dance school and drama school auditions. And there are so many gaps there that they're just not aware of what they need, how they need to be putting themselves across in the interview aspect of it. So I think that's really important as well, is to be able to offer, that exposure to how do you handle yourself in an interview? How do you sell yourself? Again.
So, stand here, tell me about yourself. Let's work on that then.
Or how do you describe yourself in 3 words? I mean, that's the most... It used to be something I'd teach about the audition toolkit. Be prepared for the unexpected. So, you're stood there auditioning and they say, okay, tell me a joke. How hard is that? I don't think I could even tell you one. Right. So it's just to have that in your armory.
in your toolbox of things that you can come out with. Like have a joke prepared, have a monologue prepared, have a whatever it might be. Tell me something interesting about yourself. That comes up at job interviews, doesn't it? But it's because it's a classic line. So have something interesting about yourself ready. And these are the kind of tips and tricks, and just little bits that you can keep in your locker. So one other thing I think we should touch on is the CEIAG, Careers Education, Information, Advice and Guidance service, which we're also going to offer. So if you've been watching this podcast, you will see what we've been talking about. And as one part of what we're bringing under the Next Stages umbrella is to go and offer that within educational institutions. In the same way that a careers talk would happen from any other industry, we're offering it from a dedicated performing arts point of view. So we can come and we can work for either a couple of hours or do a couple of sessions in a day with, if you've got a particularly large sort of cohort of students. And we'll cover everything that we're kind of talking about here and more, and the reality of working in the performing arts industry.
And I think that can be, again, bespoke, can't it, to across secondary school. Or going into colleges.
Or even university, where
university.
Where
we
more
can absolutely tailor that. Because I think, again, I think I speak quite from a unique angle in terms of being an educator and working as a teacher, but my specialist is within industry expertise. So I'm able to bring to my students, in fact, only the other day did I do with them a lighting and a costume and set design unit.
Right.
And half of that was stuff we were learning at university. And I finished that lesson and my pupils, were feeding back to me that it was so refreshing not just to be taught something that, they were learning about real life. Productions and problems and issues, and I was showing them a site-specific work that I did actually outside Luton Mall, and a dance theatre piece, and they hadn't even come across the word site-specific and what that meant. And how do you then tour that piece around different locations, not even knowing what your different locations are going to offer you or the problems around that. I've lost my trail of thought now, but I think these careers talks are going to be so valuable because a lot of teachers in schools now are teaching the curriculum. And they're educators, and they're absolutely, being a teacher myself, incredible human beings, wonderful.
Agree.
But to bring that career knowledge and expertise into the classroom to complement that, not take away from, but to complement that. How amazing is that to offer your performing arts students not only the curriculum but also the industry knowledge as well?
Absolutely. I mean, I've performed, well, my history of gigging, as I say, over 5,000 gigs. And I've worked everything from a 2-year-old's birthday party to 12 people, to big festivals with 10, 15,000 in the crowd, theatres. So it's real experience, and it's about professional conduct. It's everything. I'm coming up with things now that I didn't think of before. I'm off to an audition. What are you going to wear? Right? Because so many people turn up in this, tracksuit and a pair of scruffy trainers. That's like, no. It's all about professional practice as well.
Which, by the way, if you do wear a tracksuit to an audition, it's fine.
If it's dance,
if it's,
but maybe not if you're an actor. So
it's teaching that. Do you know, one of the units I've just introduced at school actually, and I've completely rewritten the curriculum for this, is in their last term. Dragon's Den? They create mini theatre companies. And what they have to do within this unit is come up with, in fact, we had a similar unit at uni. They had to come up with a script and a mini show idea. And they have to pitch it to me, and I give them a budget, and they have to go away and find their venue. They have to market their box office and their ticket sales, but they have to think about their target audience. That
unit at university was linked to me by your now husband.
There you go. So that is, and they might say to me, "Oh, Miss, we want to do theatre education, and we want to tour different schools, highlighting, I don't know, it might be a political issue or something, or it might be that they want to create children's theatre, but they've got this vision of putting it on in the West End. Well, okay, let's talk about this. Let's break it down, but that's possibly not going to happen, that you're going to put that in the West End straight away. Let's look at community theatre. Let's look at building. So it's making, again, them aware of what's out there and how to go about doing it.
I think you've touched on something else there as well. It's realising expectations.
Yes.
You know, everyone dreams of the West End,
Yeah.
the stage, the screen,
Yeah.
you know, the huge
Yeah.
performances. And I'm not ever going to say you can't do it.
No.
I'm going to say is let's manage
Stepping stone.
your steps and how you're going to
Yes.
get there, because it's not an overnight thing,
Yeah,
unless you're
absolutely
one of the
not.
very, very fortunate.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, the other thing we're up against is there's an element of privilege within this industry.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
And that's quite a big fight, you know. So we're also, I'm looking to support certainly
Yeah.
performers from working class backgrounds as
Yes.
much as anything else.
Yeah,
Because if you haven't got the privilege, then you need the knowledge.
yeah, absolutely. That's a wonderful thing you've done, Dave.
Well,
exciting.
it's early days. We're not there yet, but you know,
I remember our conversation, when was it? In Vanilla Tree.
in the coffee shop.
The coffee shop. Other coffee shops are available. Yeah. And now
Yeah.
look, what was that, 5 years ago? 4 years ago?
Was it really?
Must have been. Yeah.
Blimey.
And now. Amazing.
Well, also let's talk facilities,
Yes.
because we have this studio.
Yes. We
Danny, our vocal tutor, and of course confidence coach.
Yes.
Also has a home with a studio facility in it where
Yeah.
she teaches directly, and I believe you're in the throes of
It's nearly
completing
done.
your studio.
Yeah.
So we've
there'll
got
be
three
enough
different
dance space.
Yeah.
But also I do tutoring there, one-to-one acting coaching and stuff in there as well. But it's got mirrors, dance floor. So between us, and actually location-wise as well, we've got a good. We cover quite a lot of Bedfordshire, don't we?
Yeah.
And I'm in and out of London a lot. So you know, there's that as well.
Yeah, and this one, I mean, we've got straight links to St Neots as well, so we can cover that sort of area.
Yeah. Fantastic.
But in time, we're also going to offer stuff online, so
Yes.
you don't necessarily need to be within in the
Absolutely,
immediate
yeah.
vicinity to work with us.
Yeah.